Peace, peace, y'all. I am chilling in the car, waiting for my passenger. But while I'm waiting, I was like, let me jump on Facebook real quick, see what's going on in the world. And back to back, two posts that I came across talked about people staying in emotional distress because one, they like the attention of it, and two, it's what they're used to. So they just stay in the cycles. And it reminds me of something my mom used to say. She used to tell me that if you sit in shit long enough, you're going to start to like the smell. So the end of last year, the energies of the universe was pulling for us to let go of shit that no longer serves us. A lot of us went through a lot of ascensions at the end of the year that hit some of us real hard emotionally. And now at the beginning of this year, we have 4 supermoons back to back to back to back. We passed 2. The third one is, tonight into tomorrow, depending on where your location is in the world. And then we have one more coming up next month. Wait, is this the last one? January, February, March. Oh, shoot. Wait a minute. I'm bugging. So I had to pause for a minute and go double check. Because previously when I checked, it said 4 supermoons. And then one of the news sites, the name, I can't think of it right now. One of the news sites said it was 2. Then I checked the Farmer's Almanac. They have 3. So we're in the midst of a bunch of supermoons right now. The point is that they're back to back to back. And so there's a lot of energy being pulled between us. Think about when you're in the vicinity of someone you love. You guys are able to affect each other a lot more because you are that close to each other, right? But if you were miles apart, there wouldn't be the full effect on each other. So the moon is, when it's a supermoon, it means it's closer, so it's brighter and it appears bigger, and so the pull of the energy is going to be even greater. So in the midst of what's going on around the world, there's a lot of energy, right? There's a lot of energy being pulled back and forth. And 2 things I want to point out. There's been a lot of talk many years, over the years, about, the truth you're seeking is inside. The healing you're seeking is inside. The healing you're seeking is within you. Stop externalizing your power. Stop giving away your power. All of that. And a lot of people, put it off and call it all types of different names, or they just don't pay much attention to it. But now a lot of us are being physically forced to go into isolation and be with ourselves in whatever manner that means. Whether it's you alone or you're with your partner or your immediate family, we're forced to be in one place. So there's people dealing with a lot of emotional baggage that they didn't have the opportunity, or that they've been putting off from facing because, I got to go to work, I got to do this, I got to do that. So there was never time to deal with the baggage. Now there's time, right? So when you decide, you're in this space and you also decide, okay, I'm in this space, so I'm going to consciously attack whatever it is that has me going in these emotional cycles all the time. So when you go in the shadow and you look at yourself and you look at whatever trauma you had, whatever characteristics about yourself that you want to eradicate from yourself. This is the time to do it, because these full moons are all about release. This is the time to do it. We have one more super moon coming up in May. So this is the second to last one for the year. There's one more in May. But this right now, this beginning of this year, 2020, is about introspection. Look at yourself in the mirror. And the mirror can be a literal mirror where you're looking at yourself. But remember that the people around you are also a mirror of you. So if you're being triggered by somebody who's in your vicinity, you still got to look at yourself and say, what is it? That thing that pisses me the hell off. Why does that happen? You recognize what that is because it's within you. So how do you go about removing that from yourself? You got to sit with yourself and go through the process of asking yourself those questions. What I just said, ask those questions of yourself. Write down whatever comes to you. And if there's a particular modality that comes to you for release, do that. I often talk about grounding. I often talk about writing it out. You can do all of that. The other part I want to point out about when you go into the shadow and do that work of dismantling and researching and, looking inward for change. What I want you to think about is what you want your outcome to be. Because right now there's a lot of fear going around and people are thinking about, this is the end of the world. Are we going to make it? Do you want to make it? And if you do, visualize the type of world that you want to come out of this. Visualize the type of person that you want to be. Visualize the type of immediate space that you want around you. Visualize the type of neighborhood that you want around you. Visualize the type of city you want to live in. Visualize the type of state, the type of country, the type of world. You get where I'm going. You do the levels. But you have to visualize the positive side of what you want instead of focusing on the woe is me, or this world is coming to an end, or we're never going to stop the spread of this or that, or whatever else is going to come out next, or whatever else is already here. You really have to, get into that childlike mind and imagine, when you used to play house, you had nothing around you but your room, or if you were outside playing house, you made stuff up in your mind and you saw it clear as day. This is the kitchen, this is the this is the that. You have to do the same thing with the future that you want to happen, because you are an individual, I'm an individual, but our consciousness streams into an entire pool of oneness. So what I'm focusing on, it affects me directly, and it also affects you, right? What you're focusing on affects you directly, and it also affects me. So you got to pause for a minute. Go into the shadows and look at what it is that you want to change, what is triggering you. Even if you feel good about yourself, you still want to pause and examine, because there's always room for growth. There's always room for growth. And you might find something really small. You might find something really big that you thought you dealt with, but you didn't. So take a moment and pause and then release. And as you come out of the shadow, right? As you come out of doing that work, you gotta go in the direction in your mind first of what you want to manifest. What do you want to manifest? You want to manifest the world of doom and gloom and fear and all that BS? That's up to you. right? If you want to manifest a world where we coexist, where we feel free to just be. It's really quiet as I sit in here. I hear the birds. I don't hear vehicles. Before you would hear all types of vehicles passing by, but it's really quiet. And it's absolutely beautiful. What do you want to come out of this? What do you want to see on the other end? Where do you want to be on the other end of this thing that we're all going through as a collective? Yeah. And if you want to say, oh, I have to do this with my kids, or this with my mother, this with my family, this with my... have them join in with you, right? Just, if you guys have a schedule, put it in on the schedule. Group quiet time or daily quiet time. You guys can convene together in one setting and sit quietly. Or you can do it wherever in your individual spaces throughout your home. But you got to make it work for you. Recognize what the opportunity that you have here. Recognize the opportunity that you have here. Recognize the opportunity that you have here. What type of vibes are you trying to submerge yourself in? What type of vibes are you trying to submerge your atmosphere in, your aura, right?